Coffee is so much more than just a delicious hot drink with a kick of caffeine to get you on your feet. It has layers of flavors and fragrances that blend together into a mouthful of deliciousness. But more important than any of that is what I will be talking about in this video. Hi everyone, my name is Marcus and I'm a junior doctor working in Tauranga, New Zealand. In our day-to-day jobs, we often stop for coffee as a team. Some might do it every single day, while others might only stop for it once every few weeks or once a week. But I think coffee is a very important part of building a team, especially in a hospital setting. Now my team, we tend to stop for coffee after ward rounds most days. So we'll see all of our patients and then we'll see one more patient whose name is Mr. Brown. Besides operating in theatre or seeing your patients get better because of what you have done, seeing Mr. Brown is the next favourite thing in my day. I think there are three things in particular that make stopping for coffee so beneficial. Number one is team bonding. Sitting down for coffee where you're not just talking about work and surgeries, you get to know your colleagues a little better. You get to know what they enjoy doing, what their hobbies are, and you might even find an activity that you can do together outside of work. And that's all really beneficial because it helps bring you closer as a team and you can function better when you are at work and helping your patients or in theatre. It also breaks down some of those hierarchies. You have your consultants, then you have the registrars, then your house officers or interns, and then medical students. But over coffee, you're just talking about life, getting to know each other a little bit more as people. So while there still is a little bit of hierarchy there, it's not as pertinent as when you're working, seeing patients, following a certain chain of command of decision making. Now the second thing that I think coffee is really good for is giving you a time to rest and reset for the rest of the day. So you've gone around and done your ward round, you've seen all your patients, but then you stop for coffee. Now this is a time where you get to step away from the wards and just relax, talk, de-stress a little bit before you have to go back. Just like cutting a tree, you need to sharpen your axe. I kind of think of coffee as a similar, or stopping for coffee as a similar thing, where you get to take a step back, refresh your mind so that when you go back to work, you're rejuvenated and you can do whatever you do more effectively. Now, the caffeine boost is also a pretty good bonus. Number three is coffee helps break up your day. What do I mean by this? You've already done a chunk of work in the morning, you've done your ward round, then you stop for coffee. Now, if it's a really long day that just seems like it's never going to end, talk to any doctor, you will have those days where you question yourself, why am I here? Why am I a doctor? Why did I sign up to medical school? Why did I go through all of that just to do this job, which at this moment I hate? So even on days like that, coffee gives you a chance to take a step back and enjoy something nice. Even if it's just for 5 minutes, that could make a world of difference in a day. So those are my three things. Now medical students, you might find yourself in situations where the team is going for coffee. Hey, let's go see Mr. Brown. Medical student, what would you like to drink? Now, in these situations, some medical students would be a bit hesitant. Some people feel bad about letting the doctors pay for their coffees all the time. I got to admit, at one point, that was me as well. All the doctors I've come across have been more than happy to buy their students coffee. Think of it as a series of paying it forward. Your doctor is buying you coffees now. Just make sure that in a couple of years' time, when you're the doctor, you buy your students coffee and keep that tradition or culture going. Now, some of you out there might also be wondering, what if I don't like coffee? I don't like the taste, it tastes bitter, it's gross. I prefer something sweet. Firstly, man, you do not know what you're missing out on. It's the sweet nectar of life. It's like breathing, but in a warm, brown, liquidy form that just caresses your throat as you swallow with every single sip. That makes me kind of sound like a coffee junkie. I love coffee, but not enough to be addicted. We'll talk about that later. Second, that's totally okay. Just order a hot chocolate or a tea or whatever else you prefer to drink. You will almost certainly get roasted for that at some point in time, but hey, we roast you out of love, just like we love our coffee beans to be roasted. Bad pun? Bad? All right, moving on. So next time, accept that coffee, hot chocolate, whatever floats your boat. and just remember, pay it forward in the future. By this point in the video, you've probably realized that I really like my coffee. But, like I mentioned before, I love coffee, but not enough to be addicted. One thing I'm always very careful about is to never become dependent on coffee. Actually, this is a pretty blanket rule for most areas of my life, to not be dependent on anything at all. Something a surgeon once said to me in a really complex surgical procedure, if I recall correctly, I think it might have been a CABG, where they take your heart, attach you to a heart and lung machine, detach your heart from its blood supply, and then replumb new blood vessels to replace your coronary arteries. Now, it was during one of these procedures, or something similar, where a surgeon told me, you'll want to always be in control. Obviously, he was talking about this in a surgical setting. I think this also applies to other areas of life as well. In an operation, you want to be in control of the bleeding so that the patient doesn't suffer or even die from it. And with coffee, I want to be in control of my own physiology so that I'm not dependent on caffeine to function normally or function well. And I think that's really important because one, it allows me to enjoy coffee more and know that I can choose to have coffee, not that I have to have coffee. But two, I can also function well without coffee or the need for caffeine. And I often see many other surgeons do this as well, where if they're operating, they wouldn't have any coffee that day. If you had a lot of coffee, you've probably known this and just noticed that you're a little bit more shaky that day. And as a surgeon, you want to be a competent surgeon, you want to be an excellent and skilled surgeon, you do not want to be a shaky surgeon. So how do I go about not developing a dependency on it? What I do is make sure that I don't drink coffee every single day. There'll be quite a few days where I don't have a coffee. This way I make sure my body isn't having a dose or a caffeine fix every day, so I don't become dependent on it. So this way, I drink coffee when I want to. I get to enjoy it when I want to. So this basically sums up my love for the wonderful deliciousness that is coffee. Remember to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and tell me in the comments below what your favorite coffee order is. All right, I'm off to enjoy a good flat white. See you next time.